The next type of ecological adaptations within the plants will be with respect to availability of water and heat. So, we have the type of plants which are adapted, or rather I would say well adapted for heat and water scarcity, known as think over it, you might have heard about it. They are known as xerophytes, not zero, it's xerophytic type. So we have xerophytes. This word refers to arid condition or dry condition. So we have specific type of plants known as xerophytes. As we have to deal with the type of adaptations that these xerophytes undergo, we will see that there are certain changes within the plants or certain adaptive features which they have shown, so that they can very well survive in extremely dry conditions. So, talking about the morphological or adaptive features, before that we have a term that we must understand, that is ephemerals. Now, these ephemerals, they are these plants, they grow for a short period of time. So, they have a behavioral adaptation that they would survive. They have restricted their vegetative and reproductive phase for a very short period of time. So, they evade the unfavorable conditions by choosing the favorable period as the only period of their survival. So, they are ephemerals. Okay, you have to remember this term, that there are certain ephemerals which grow in desert. So, in order to avoid that harsh dry condition, they often grow in the season when there is a short duration of rain. So, those are ephemerals. Coming back to the xerophytes, what are the morphological adaptations they have? First thing is that their leaves are thin or highly reduced leaves. They could be replaced by prickles and spines as well. Now, why they are reduced? So that the transpiration losses are met. Okay. The second type of adaptation is that the root system is very well extensive. That would be a better word. They have an extensive root system. There are certain plants known as phaerophytes which have so deep roots, such a deep seated root system that it reaches around 500 meters down the soil. So, in order to extract the water. So, the root system is highly extensive. Then you have sunken stomata, thick cuticle covered by wax. All these things are to avoid transpiration. Also, they will have C4 photosynthesis mechanism. This is a physiological adaptation. Apart from this, they show, most of them are CAM plants. That means they show crassulacean acid metabolism, which means that stomata open during night. Okay. So, these are the various adaptations which xerophytes show. Okay. So, they will have thin or highly reduced leaves, or they could be replaced by prickles. Okay, one more thing that you primarily observe in xerophytes is that the occurrence of phylloclades and phyllodes. That means the leaves which are highly reduced, the purpose of photosynthesis would be performed by the specialized stems known as phylloclades, which are thick flattened stems, green in color. Okay, the water is stored in it. Okay, so these are the various adaptations. Now, what are the examples that come to your mind when you think about xerophytes? Certainly cactus. So we have the example of acacia, we have the example of opuntia, that is the cactus commonly known. Then we have the example of euphorbia. and many more. These much are enough for your understanding. I hope you get an idea what adaptations a xerophytic plant is going to show, so that it very well survives in the highly arid and semi-arid conditions.